What is up? It's the Xbox Now podcast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Aaron, what is up, dude?
Howdy. How's it going today?
It's going fantastic. Nate, how are you?
Doing good.
Love it. I love it. Well, like I said, this is the Xbox Now podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Do all the things. We are also putting out content on TikTok, and you can follow us on Twitter if you want to yell at us for any of our wrong opinions, right? So, and we'll make sure to let Nate reply to all of those.
I love it.
We also want to let you guys know that you can check out the Halo Infinite podcast, which is having a community game night this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And that might actually start a little bit earlier, depending on my schedule. So it may start a little bit earlier, but it's guaranteed to start at least around 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, on the Halo Infinite podcast YouTube channel. And then you can also check out live on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, the Xbox Factor podcast, which is on Double Barrel Gaming's YouTube, which is a fantastic show that Boom has been so gracious to allow me to be one of the co-hosts on. So it is a great time as well. And Servant 117 gave us a great topic last week to discuss on that show. So jumping into our show here real quick, we've got games with gold for July. Aaron, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Sounds good. So from July 1st, July 31st, we have Beast of Maravilla Island. From July 16th to August 15th, we have Relicta. And then July 1st, July 15th, we have Thrillville Off the Rails, which is a really fun game to play. And then Torchlight, which I think a lot of people will love. And yes, I said love if they give it a fair shot. And that is available July 16th to July 31st.
Love it. All right. Well, we're gonna start the show. We've actually put show notes together, and we're gonna start having this show kind of evolve and have it take shape. And so we're just gonna start with what's new with you. Now, Aaron is he is the Halo player. Nate plays some Halo, rage quits at it, and then goes and plays Rocket League. Crawlr, who's not here right now, I know he's been playing a lot of Fall Guys and a lot of Fortnite. And well, I don't play games. That's what I have on the notes here, but that's actually not true. I've been playing quite a few games. So, Aaron, we're going to start with you. What's new?
So I love Game Pass. I will download games, play about 30 minutes, and then get bored and go back to Halo. But I at least do give them a chance. But I've been playing a lot of Halo. I think I have over 80 hours in Halo just in the last 2 months.
Love it.
Halo Infinite to me is the best made Halo game.
Oh,
it
God.
Feels,
that's at Xbox Now pod, I think.
Nightcrawler 724 without the E. No, it's a Servant 117. But if you want to discuss this with me, I'm always in the N64 Josh Discord discussing games. But I mean, if you look at Halo Infinite, it looks the best, it plays the best. It's getting hated on by some fans, which, there's some criticism there from 343, which is warranted. But I mean, what's new for me is I'm playing some Game Pass games. I'm primarily Xbox and primarily Halo. And I'm just trying to work on some ranked and just having fun with Entrenched this week and playing some land grab.
Yeah, I was going to say, anything stand out to you this week with Halo that's just got you a little extra excited?
For me, I like the events, especially the week-long events, which I hope 343 can learn heading into Season 3, that having a shorter event creates a sense of urgency and puts more players in there so you have less bots. So if you're playing Entrenched right now compared to Slayer or Oddball, you're going to have typically better games, more competitive games outside of the ranked arena, because you have players trying to push for the things that they want to win, and they have a shorter amount of time than 6 months to get what they want.
I'm right there with you. Having those quick those week-long events are nice. We could talk at nauseum about the the way the challenges should be done. But I mean, I did all of my challenges this week I think I may have played one game prior to jumping in, and in 2 hours and probably 5 swaps, I completed every challenge this week. So really not too bad. The game still needs it needs a lot of work.
I downloaded it again.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And
One of my rage quits.
Is it still this is not a joke, by the way. This is how many times have you deleted Halo?
3 times.
3 times. I love it. Well, Nate, what is new with you? What have you been playing?
I want to say new, but still stuck in Rocket League. I've already uninstalled and reinstalled Fall Guys once. That's raging inducing as well. I swear, sometimes my room that I play sounds like a Call of Duty lobby sometimes.
I love that. I don't know if did both of you guys happen to see the stream yesterday when I was trying to get to the finish line in the first set, like all day. I had we streamed for probably 2 hours, did a community Fall Guys night. This is my first time playing the game, could not get past round 1. And I finally got to where I was diving into the air over the finish line. And there'll be a clip on my TikTok and Instagram and everything if you guys want to see it. I didn't qualify. I thought I had made it. And I go to start the next round and I'm spectating. I was like, no way.
And that was brutal.
Yeah, I like your word "trying" to play, because and then it kind of sucks as a streamer because everybody's trying to goose you.
Oh, the whole time I was getting grief. The whole time I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna give him the satisfaction. I'm just gonna ignore it and do my best. So
people kept grabbing you the first game you played.
Oh yeah.
Which
every game,
yeah.
There was every game I was getting grabbed the whole. I'm just like, oh well, what do you do? And then what would kill me is that person that was grabbing me would make it through still. I'm like, how is this possible? How are they doing this? So, but no, it was a good time. And I mean, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or on Spotify, Nate, you're in this B-roll. Servant was out of town, but Nate, Crawlr, and I believe Joel Mead from the Halo Infinite podcast community we were playing some matches, and
just don't show the score.
That's right. Now I remember there was one game that did not. I was like, it couldn't be that bad. I remember I looked and I was like, oh, I hope that doesn't show up on the.
I was letting my kid play.
I love it. But I mean, again, Servant, you were talking about just how much you enjoy Halo. Like, we were laughing the whole time. We were making jokes. Nate's controller, we could hear creaking periodically because he was squeezing it so hard. But for the most part, everybody was having a good time, I would say. Crawler's not here, obviously, so we don't get to hear from him and Fall Guys and Fortnite, but I know he's grinding away to try to get Vader. I need to play some Fortnite myself. And speaking of Fortnite, make sure to use creator code N64Josh. I really do appreciate that.
Rocket
but
League
with
too.
some of these, and Rocket League, there you go. With some of these games like Fall Guys, which is going to have a creator code eventually, we are doing more community game nights on the N64Josh Twitch and TikTok. And games like Fall Guys, Fortnite, Mario Kart, which I know isn't Xbox. Potentially, we got a Halo community game night as well. So if you want to get in and get some games with us, please jump in. I did a TikTok sponsored Among Us stream today, which was super fun. And the streamer that they were highlighting hit 3.5 million followers during the stream. They already had a number of followers, right? It's not like that was from just today, but that milestone was achieved. I think this is the game where I get the chain reaction. I'm watching the replay here where I got like a triple kill with those lightning nades, and Crawlr was not happy with me. So because of isn't it tied to an achievement, I believe? So it may be the shock rifle though. I can't remember exactly. I always every time we're playing, I'm like, Crawlr, I just got that achievement again, and he he always gets so salty. It just cracks me up.
I love that dynamic between you two.
Where
you
I
do
feel
seem
like
to
I've
go
just
at him
worn
personally.
There's times that I feel like I've just worn him out, where he's just like, I can't with you anymore.
I mean, we all have things that we do consistently.
Yeah.
But nobody steals a BR more than N64 Josh.
No way.
Especially from Crawlr.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he will scream and scream and scream at me. Like, yeah, it's glorious, honestly. It is glorious. So
it's a good time.
But no, Among Us was super fun today. And playing with a bunch of creators, which was great. But for some reason, my games were on point. The 2 times that I had to play as the imposters, the games lasted like the first one lasted 2 minutes. We had I did the sabotage on the like the O2, and then I just stood by and waited for people to come and hit the punch the code in, but nobody would do it. They just sat and watched me, and then they weren't going. I don't think they were moving to the other side. So eventually we ran out of O2 and we won that round, and everybody was like, "Yo, what just happened? We've never seen a game go that." Yeah, it was so fast. It was so fast. So, and then the next one, it was the same kind of thing, except for, so what I love about Among Us is I look like Master Chief, right? Somebody immediately was like, "Yo, how do you look like Master Chief?" I'm like, "Oh, just sign in to your Xbox if you have it, of course, and then you can collect the items from the store." So they did that. Come back. Well, there's new modes in Among Us where, and I'd never done these before, but like as the imposter, I could hit the right trigger and it would allow me to choose from any player to shapeshift into them. So my name would change to theirs and their character would change. So I had sabotaged, and we both ran to separate panels, and then I turned into him. And then the other imposter showed up, killed him, and I'm just running around as him. Nobody is hitting the thing, and we eventually won. But it's a whole new dynamic to Among Us that makes it a lot of fun. Apparently, if you're like the first to die, you can then get this Guardian Angel perk where you can go and protect certain people, or like, I don't know if you can bring them back to life after they've been killed. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but and there's like engineers that can use the vents even if they're crewmates.
Wow.
So
that makes it way better then.
It really does. It is, as long as you don't take it too serious, Crawlr. It is it can be a lot of fun.
Wear an anchor around my neck.
Yeah, he's not here to defend himself right now, but that's what he told us. We was trying to get a win in Team Slayer, and he's like, I'll just go in without you guys when I don't have this anchor around my neck. It was just like, wow. Okay. All right. Thanks, friend. Thanks. So, yeah, but as far as other games, I've still been doing it. What I'm getting back into achievements, which it can be a sickness for me. I have to be careful because like I love seeing achievements pop. While playing Among Us, I got an achievement where I only voted for the imposters each time the voting went up. And so that was an achievement. And I wasn't even looking to see what some of the achievements were, but I was getting some diamond achievements throughout the games. And I was like, oh, I love it when the diamond ones pop, because it's like those aren't, oh, watch this snipe. Oh, that was dirty. That was dirty snipe. I love seeing that. And but speaking of achievements, one of the segments for this show is going to be looking at Game Pass games that have easy achievements. And the two for this week, one is called Townscaper, and it is 1,000 gamer score in about 30 minutes. All right. And if you need the guides to these, we are saying go over to trueachievements.com and check out they have the list of the games, and they also have some guides if you want to try to get some of these real fast. The other one is Memoir Blue, which is 1,000 gamer score in about 1 to 2 hours. Now, a little side note is one that we're going to be trying this week. What was the name of it, Aaron? Something Road 96, something like that?
Yeah, Road 96.
Yeah, Road 96.
I think that one was that was 1,000 points pretty quickly.
Like under an hour or something?
Yeah, yep, under an hour. Yeah, Road 96. It's on Game Pass. 1,000. That's a 12 achievements for 1,000 points.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Cool. So that's going to be one that we're going to be checking out as well, trying to get to the higher score. So Xbox news. Forza Motorsport. I got a tweet here that I'm going to pull up. This is from their Twitter account. It says, drivers will enjoy the accuracy of our physics, which have taken a generational leap in the new Forza Motorsport. Thanks to your feedback, we've greatly improved the car dynamics and fine-tuned our suspension with dynamic force propagation, roll center, anti-drive, and squat, which these are things that I'm not much of a gearhead, so I don't even really know what they're talking about here, but it all sounds amazing. And on the tweet, they show the video that's playing. One, you're seeing the reflections of the cars, which that's all I'm watching. I think I watched this thing probably 20 times and I didn't even really know what was happening. I just saw how sick this game looked. But no, I love that they're drip feeding some content. They're kind of letting us know what are some of the improvements that are going to be happening. I think this is all good stuff. Nate, any thoughts from you on Forza Motorsport and this little bit of news?
I think it's cool. It's cool. I just want to one of those ones I just want to play. I'm getting tired of hype. I just kind of want to dive in sometimes.
I hear you. Aaron, how about you? Any thoughts on this motorsport news?
So when Motorsport was announced for the Xbox showcase, I believe I said this is going to be the best looking game on the Xbox. This news makes me think it's going to be the best feeling racing game of this generation. So, I'm a huge Forza fan. I'm excited for the Hot Wheels DLC, but I'm more excited for Motorsport coming out than I am anything. And this news just makes me, just like Nate said, I just want to play it. I just want to play this game. This to me is a game that I just put on, listen to a podcast, and drive around for hours.
Love it. It looks fantastic. I'm really excited to jump into this one too. I think my gut feeling with Forza Motorsport is it's going to be one of those games that really feels next gen, right? There's
Exactly.
not a lot of games that ever since the 360, nothing feels like it's been massive leaps forward, right? Some, but nothing. The reason I say that is because being somebody that grew up with the Atari to the NES to the Super Nintendo, those were significant jumps, right? When you went from Atari to NES and from the NES to the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis, that was different. I threw that in for you, Nate. And and so seeing what the Series X and S are going to be capable of with Motorsport, I'm really looking forward to it. So, and then finding out it's going to even play a little more realistic and stuff. I love that. My neighbor, actually, I was just talking to him. He just got a PS5 and Gran Turismo, and he dropped a bunch of cash on a wheel. Last summer I went and bought air conditioning units from him, and he's like, "Hey, you got to try this." He sits me down in a racing chair with it's got this kicker thing sitting next to it, a clutch, a brake, a gas pedal, the steering wheel, 48 inch. Like, I'm not joking you. We take the dogs for a walk and we can hear what sounds like the racetrack coming right out of his living room. That this guy is hardcore when it comes to his Gran Turismo games, and I'm always trying to tell him about Forza. Not because I want him to switch, but I just want him to experience both of them because I think he would. He's got a Porsche and a Jaguar. Like he's got these are those are his actual cars, and I'm just like, I can't imagine you not liking this game. But it's the kind of thing that I think, because his steering wheel is for PlayStation, that's all he can use it on, right? So it's
crazy.
just the way it goes. But yeah, he's way into it. So other news here, the Xbox surpasses 250,000 units in Japan. I got a tweet here from Aaron Greenberg. It says, thank you for everybody in Japan for choosing Xbox. We are grateful and look forward to your continued patronage. So yeah, and then the tweet he's quoting, it says the Xbox X and S have now surpassed 250K sold milestone since launch in Japan. Lifetime total now at 260,000. For comparison, the Xbox One only sold 114,000 consoles in Japan its entire lifespan or entire lifetime. The Series X and S have maintained a surprisingly solid weekly sales in Japan this year. And that's fantastic news, right? I mean, Game Pass is definitely moving consoles, and that's a good thing. Nate, any thoughts from you on seeing the success of Xbox in Japan?
That's really good news. Is that the highest, even from 360 days too?
That's a good question. I will look up real quick and see how 360 did. I think the 360 did all right over there.
That was a shooter box, pretty much, right?
It was, but there were some JRPGs and some decent RPGs on the 360.
That's good news, though. I mean, from how bad the one did everywhere, right? I mean, Japan's a big market, small but big, and it's good to get your feet wet in that market, I think.
So now it looks like they're kind of I want to make sure I get it right, but according to Wikipedia, Japan did 1.6 million of the 360.
Okay.
So, and Europe did about 7 million.
Europe's been pretty good with. It's just that Japan market's always been a little. I mean, you got Nintendo over there, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Nintendo, Sony, PlayStation.
So it's good. It's good. It's good to get your feet wet over there again.
Well, and there's such a massive library of RPGs, Western and JRPGs, making their way to the Xbox ecosystem, that like there really is something for everybody, especially with Game Pass. I mean, we just had Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol hit the or they're on their way to Game Pass as well. So, that's great news for younger gamers or parents with kids that are wanting to start getting their feet wet with gaming. Aaron, what are your thoughts on Xbox doing so well over in Japan?
I mean, it's a win for gamers everywhere. The adage is software sells, and I think that's more prevalent in Japan. I mean, the Switch is how much of their market share, and that's never going to be the most powerful console. I mean, Japanese gamers, they really like the software. So now that Xbox is having the games that they want, the units are moving. So if you give people games they want to play, I'm hoping this is just proving that it doesn't matter what the history of a system is, that if you provide the players content, they're going to buy it. So, I mean, this victory for Xbox, if you want to call it that, is good for gamers everywhere. I mean, I'm excited for this. I enjoy JRPGs. Not everybody does, but the more people you have in the Xbox ecosystem is a win for Xbox.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, lastly, here we got the Hot Wheels expansion pack coming out 7/19 for $19.99. Now, if you did opt in to play the game early, I believe you probably purchased the expansion pack then. At least that's what I did. I don't remember what tiers they had available, but I'm fairly certain I bought like a deluxe edition to be able to get in early. I don't remember exactly. If that isn't the case, I'm still jumping in on this one because this looks amazing. There's going to be user generated content with people creating their own tracks. I kind of want to jump in there because I used to build my own Hot Wheels tracks when I was a kid with my dad's Hot Wheel tracks, because I ended up living in the house he lived in as a kid. So I had miles of this orange track. So I'm very, very excited for this Hot Wheels expansion. Aaron, what are your thoughts with this launching? I know you've got to be very excited.
I'm pumped. I think there's over 80 different track pieces you can build with.
Oh wow!
I was one of the few people that actually bought the Hot Wheels game. So the fact that you can build in this, I'm excited for. And there's, I think, 10 new cars at least as well. So you're giving me 80 pieces of track to build with on top of a great game with 10 distinctive cars on top of that. This might get me away from Halo for at least a couple hours a week.
Oh, I like hearing that. I'm excited. I'm excited to jump back in. It's kind of crazy, honestly, the tug that I have towards playing some Forza, playing some Gears. Like I just feel like I've been more of an Xbox mood as of recent than just the Switch games I've been playing. So it's nice having those games at our fingertips whenever we want. So, and kind of speaking about being Xbox gamers, our topic for tonight is our Xbox history. And so, and this can go back a little further than just Xbox too, if you want to talk about some of your first consoles or whatever the case may be. Nate, I'm going to let you start with this. What is some of your history with Xbox or even just gaming in general?
So, of course, like most people our age, right? Nintendo got us in the door. And around 2000, I was kind of really into PC stuff, but could never afford a PC, right? So I got heavily into Counter-Strike, tournaments and all that stuff. But then the Xbox came out, and I dabbed into the Combat Evolved, the first Halo, and I was like, wow, this kind of cool. You could drive around and do drive-bys and but hey.
Wow.
But yeah. No, I mean, it was impressed because like some PC games didn't have like cars and stuff you can drive. It was a trip. But I didn't play online, so it was like one of those play when I get home things, right? And then I would go back to the LAN cafe, play Counter-Strike. But then when I got the 360, when I moved away from everybody, and that kept me and my friends close. So I have a super nostalgic pull to the 360 with Call of Duty and Halo 3, and Left 4 Dead was another one. I was able to keep in contact. I had the headset, the little bad headset that it came with.
Oh,
everybody had Turtle Beaches or whatever, and they could hear me coming from across the map. You're like, this is cheat. This is cheating. But yeah, I mean, the 360 was probably my most played console after 8-bit, 16-bit, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Halo 3 was amazing. Call of Duties were popping around that time. And now I skipped this last generation, with a bunch of money problems and stuff like that. And feels good to get back into the groove of being able to actually play stuff, right? And with Halo Infinite, it's been fun to get into Halo again and download it 3 or 4 times because the rage quitting. Surprised I'm still on the original controller with my Xbox too.
So are we?
We are surprised also.
But I mean, Xbox has been like, I've always loved Xbox's controller, the offset thumbsticks. I've never been big on the center thumbsticks, because my thumbs always hit, because I have hamburger helper hands.
How about the Duke?
The Duke was awesome. I just couldn't reach the black and white button, right? But
right, yeah.
Yeah, the Duke was awesome. It was like meaty, and it was big, and you're like, this is cool. I kind of miss them now. They sell those, right? They sell the anniversary ones.
Yeah, and I think it has an animation. I think it has
an
animation in the controller, built into the controller.
Yeah. I mean, that's my story with Xbox. It feels good to actually start playing again. And one of these days, maybe I'm going to try some Halo with mouse and keyboard.
There you go.
See if I can get best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, do it. I mean, it's great that's an option for Xbox players. Aaron, how about you? What is some of your history with Xbox?
So, like Nate said, grew up in the 90s, so I was a Nintendo kid. I liked all of them, including the GameCube. But then once I saw the Xbox, it was over for me. I'm that typical kid. I play first-person shooters. I play sports games. The Xbox controller was the best. I mean, the games just looked better on Xbox. I always wanted the next system, the newest system, to play the games that looked the best on the best hardware, and that's Xbox. Original Xbox, I'm convinced now, is still more powerful than the Switch. The Xbox 360, to me, is my most memorable gaming memories. That was my freshman and sophomore year of college, playing Gears of War, Halo 3. But I mean, my favorite games are on the 360. Xbox Live, I think, is the most important non-software creation in game history. The amount of people that I've met through Xbox Live, the connectivity of playing with people at 2 a.m. in other countries, those memories are memories that I have more so about the experience around the Xbox than with the Xbox itself. Yeah, the Xbox is great, has great graphics, great controller, the best, my favorite IPs. But the thing that makes Xbox is that Xbox Live and the online connectivity. The original Xbox was such a forward-thinking console with, we want Ethernet, we want internet, we want people to be able to play together. I mean, the history of Xbox is gamers with gamers, and Xbox for me is gaming with friends. I love Halo, I love Forza, Medal of Honor on the 360. Those two games were two of my favorite. Call of Duties are good, but if I'm gonna play a game, like if something comes out now that's on every system, I'm playing that game on my Xbox.
It has been one of those, it's been 20 years, right, with the brand, and I remember getting the GameCube and going, "Oh, Perfect Dark's going to be so much better than any kind of whatever this Halo game is." Like, until I played Halo and I was like, "Well, it's okay, but it's not Perfect Dark," And then Microsoft purchased Rare, and I was like, "Okay, I guess this Halo game is super awesome." Like we had Metroid Prime, which was like, I mean, it was great, it was fantastic, but it wasn't even twin sticks. It was like you still had to like press the L button to look around, like to kind of scan things, because it was a first person adventure versus a first person shooter. So it was kind of like, and then once Xbox Live hit, the what kills me is I think I'm like 3 to 6 months behind the original date of Xbox Live coming out, because I didn't have broadband internet. That's how, like, that I lived in the city, but the house I lived in was so old that we couldn't get broadband. And by broadband, I mean DSL, because even cable internet wasn't all that readily available. Like, it was starting to become more of a thing, but it wasn't there yet. And I remember we moved. There was flooding happening. We lived right on the river, right on a dike, and we had all of our friends and family show up, and we moved our house in an entire day. And we moved in with some friends, and I remember ordering my first Xbox, and it came with Mech Assault and Splinter Cell. And Splinter Cell was so different, and of course I bought a copy of Halo right away as well. So those were like the 3 games I had right off the bat. And then I started diving into other games like Rainbow Six 3. And that I still have lifelong friends. I don't know if either of them will hear this, but shout out to Demonic Jawa and I Hate My Life 04, which I know you guys all know hate from the Nintendo Powercast, but we met playing Rainbow Six. And I remember there was a night that my internet was so bad, like my broadband was so bad that if I was the host, I was the only one getting kills because everybody else would either get teleported or like I would be behind them as they were shooting where I was. And then I felt like Neo from the Matrix. So I loved when they would let me host, but it only happened like twice because they were like, this is unplayable for us. And I'm like, this is the way it should be, And what's crazy is that like, I Hate My Life. He was so good with with like the worst pistol in the game. Like this little pea shooter, he would just run around the map just wrecking people, right? And it was a lot of fun. I remember I'd always use my G36. I loved that thing. And that was my go-to in back in the day. And then Halo 2 came out and everything kind of changed, right? Mech Assault 2 came out. That was super fun online. But Halo 2 really, I mean, it was the era for me where it was like game till 5 a.m., go to bed, get up at 6 a.m., and then go to work for 10 hours, like, and then try not to cut my fingers off with a skill saw and then rinse and repeat. Games like Crimson Skies came out and my wife was so into it that we bought a second television set and a second Xbox for the living room so that we wouldn't have to have a split screen. I remember the first time she started playing that game and I could hear guys flirting with her. Like I couldn't hear them, but I could hear the way she was talking back to them and nothing inappropriate at all. But I could just tell these guys were flirting, right? And I was like, I jumped out of bed, grabbed the controller, and absolutely mopped the floor with them and could hear them. I turned so I could hear it coming out of the speakers and they were like, damn, you're actually really good at, like, maybe you could teach us how to play. And then I just gave her the controller back and went to bed. But I mean, but she got super good at that game. Like that it's why I'm always hoping that we hear something about Crimson Skies because it was a game I loved and could not get enough of. And then when the 360, like the progression of the original Xbox to the 360 was what I would probably consider the last time we had real hype around a console, like a console generation, right? And I'm not saying these other console generations aren't as exciting, but there just wasn't as much. It was still an era where there wasn't like so much like oversaturation. Nintendo was going to the direction of the Wii, which was kind of like weird and not really for the hardcore. And so you only had the 2 consoles. And I know it's still kind of the same, but I definitely know my time now is taken up on the Switch and whatnot. But I remember seeing Perfect Dark on like MTV. That was like the first time they showcased it. And you had all these celebrities talking about how great it was, finally getting to play matches. And like, I remember jumping into that game and I liked it. I didn't love it. I wished it was better, but I still had a good time with it. And it felt good to be playing a Rare game again. And I remember it being a launch title. And even getting my 360, I had to do one of those things like Hollywood Video where they're like, yeah, we'll sell you this, but you need to buy like 5 games and a controller, so it was like way more than just your typical like, console. It was significantly more. But I remember coming home with like Dead or Alive 4 because I love the Dead or Alive series. It was a game I was introduced to on the original Xbox, and of course Perfect Dark, and then playing games like Geometry Wars. I don't know if you guys remember playing many of the Xbox Live Arcade games, but some of those games, like Geometry Wars, is fantastic. Like it's still a game that I could go back to, and will go back to, and it's great for like the backbone or something to like play before. In fact, before I go to bed tonight, I am going to play some Geometry Wars because it just sounds like such a good time. So, So yeah, I mean, and then I had been working to get some side hustles off the ground when the Xbox One was announced. And I had one night where I became an affiliate for this photography book. And it was just an ebook, but I got $8 every time it sold. Well, they published my review. The digital photography school published my review in an email, and I ran a $40 Facebook ad, and I made like $600 that night. My email just kept going off with the Mario coin, and I took that money, and that's what I pre-ordered my day one Xbox One, and I still have it, and I still have the controller that say day one on it. And
That's awesome.
it was super cool, right? Like, and so, and I know the Xbox One stumbled, and I remember I was on a Destiny podcast, and most of the hosts played on PlayStation, so I couldn't even play with them or anything, but I didn't care. I stuck with Xbox. I loved Gears of War. I loved Halo. I mean, I got both my boys one year for Christmas. Both got Xbox Ones for their like one of their first console Christmas. I mean, they had handhelds and stuff that they'd gotten, but like it was a kind of a big deal watching both of them open their Xbox Ones at the same time, and so
No,
Xbox is just say that again.
I was gonna say that's one thing that's like cool that like Epic and Fortnite did was I remember those days where you couldn't play against people so you were just kind of following your friends, whatever console they had, you had to buy, and that's cool that wall's knocked down a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The ability to do crossplay and everything is so fantastic. And I mean, and Xbox was one of the first to adopt it, right? They were like, yeah, we're on board. We're here for the gamers. And that's it really feels like that's kind of been their narrative. I mean, obviously it's still a business. Obviously they still have to make money, but like they do feel like they're kind of like a little more gamer centric, and you don't hear things like, oh, just take out a third, just work a second job so that you can pay for the console, like it's so strange, it's just like so like how are you that far removed from what the gamers want, but that's just the way it goes, and everything ebbs and flows, and the companies live and learn, but yeah, it's just been a console that's kind of always been I mean, it's like the Nintendo, but I mean, when the 360 came out, I barely touched the Wii. I remember when Mass Effect came out, I didn't even have I had moved back from California, didn't have internet because we were living with my parents at the time, and just losing myself in Mass Effect like I would a Mario game. Like it was so incredible. Gears of War, life changing. One of my bucket lists is to shake hands with Cliffy B, because I mean those hours and hours getting a snipe in that game when somebody's roadie running. There's hardly anything more satisfying in gaming than watching that skull pop. Like it's so much fun. In fact,
That
it
game
makes me want to play it. So
still looks great. Even the 360 versions that you can play,
oh yeah,
it still looks great.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with Unreal 5 and the next iteration of Gears. It could really be a game that puts Xbox on the map again, and gets the conversation happening around Game Pass. And so we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to be patient, and that's just fine. Take all the time you need, but yeah, just so many good memories with Xbox. So any closing thoughts, Aaron, before we wrap this up?
So just to piggyback something you said, the Xbox 360 for me was the last giant leap in what felt like next gen gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those games are still playable today. I mean, I bought another Xbox 360 last week. I got the E version, and playing that, it's muscle memory, and it all still looks great and it plays well. It's one of those things that I'm just never going to get tired of.
Yeah, for sure. Nate, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Just wish, man, I wasn't so late into the party with the online stuff on consoles. Like, I didn't have the original Xbox thing, and the the whole what did they call it? The live It was live,
Xbox
right?
Live?
Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And there was no goal or nothing. It was just straight up. Well, it was expensive, right?
So here's the thing. It was like $5 a month, I think. It's $5 or $6 a month. I never paid for like the first 4 years of Xbox Live. One of the guys that we met in Rainbow Six worked for Hollywood, like was like a district manager for Hollywood Video. And so that meant he had connections at Game Crazy, right? Because that's who he technically worked for, was Game Crazy. And he hooked all of us up with years of Xbox Live. He's like, here you guys go. Here's a bunch of codes. Like, you won't have to pay for. So like the first, I want to say it could have even been 5 to 6 years of Xbox Live I never paid for. Like it was just taken care of, you know. So
that's expensive because 2001 I was in high school, so it was like, ooh, it's hard to get. Mom, can you get this? Oh, and get internet too. Oh, and
yeah. No, I totally hear you, and I'm because of I was 2001. I had just had my first kid and was was out of school at that point. But yeah, that helped significantly having those having that guy hook us up. Otherwise, I think it was either $5 a month or $50 a year. Because I remember when they started upping it to like 60, for Xbox Live Gold or whatever it was. There was kind of some backlash and stuff like that. But the last thing I'm going to mention is the headsets, because like I used to have like the Halo 2 headset, which would it was like a little earbud that would go in your ear, and then it was like transparent green around the backside of your ear to this noise canceling headset. Like such marketing jargon, but like it had Halo 2 on it, so I was all in. I remember trading a headset, like my first 360 headset. I remember going and trying to trade it in at GameStop, and like the foam on the ear was like all like swollen, and like it, there was like hair in it and stuff, just because like I had like worn this thing out, right? I remember the guy at GameStop was like, I'm not touching that. 2, like we will not be able to resell that. I'm like, come on, there's no DNA on it, just take it. But
oh man, that 360 earpiece that came with the console, that was that one, just talking about it hurts. It was like grab a little pie dish and just shove it against your ear as hard as you can for for like 7 hours.
Remember the first wireless one that came out that like clipped around your ear, and then I was rocking that thing, but it was the worst if you forgot to charge it. You were just like, oh, now I gotta sit and wait, so first world problems. But all right, guys, well, thank you so much for being here and checking out the show. Please do leave a comment down below some of your first and favorite Xbox memories. We would love to hear what those are. And again, hit that like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye now.
Later.